Ever felt something real and then it vanished? A sudden clarity, a thought, a feeling, a moment of truth that touches something deep inside you. But then it slips away, as if it had never been. You're left wondering, why couldn't it stay? Maybe the problem wasn't the thought. Maybe it wasn't the seed at all. Maybe it was the ground it fell into. In saying 9 of the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus speaks in a riddle, but one that, if you listen closely, might reveal something about yourself. Behold, the sower went out, filled his hand, and scattered. Some fell on the path, the birds came and ate them. Some fell on the rock, they took no root in the earth and bore no ears. Others fell among the thorns, they choked the seed, and the worm devoured them. And others fell on good soil, and it bore good fruit, 60-fold and 120-fold. What does this parable really mean? Is it just a metaphor, or a hidden teaching about the state of your inner world? In this video, we'll explore the 4 inner grounds that shape your life, and ask, in the end, what is fruit, and how do you become the kind of soil that can carry it? You walk it every day, the path, the outer road, between appointments, conversations, decisions. You function, but you no longer hear yourself. Sometimes something true brushes past you, a sentence, a glance, a thought, but it doesn't stay because there's no place inside for it to land. Some fell on the path, and the birds came and picked them up. The birds, they are your thoughts, your worries, your hurry. They take everything back before you even realize it was a gift. The Danish existentialist Søren Kierkegaard once wrote, "A person can lose themselves in busyness, like in a forest, where the sky disappears behind all the trees. You are the open path, walked on by others and by you. But a path does not grow, it carries, it shows the way, but it never takes anything in. It is too trampled for a miracle, too loud for silence, too exposed for depth." Rumi, poet, mystic, lover of the unseen, once said, "The wind scatters my thoughts like a child playing with dust in the light." Some words touch you, but they don't sink in. You hear them, you understand them, but they find no hold. The saying goes, others fell on the rock, they did not take root in the soil, and they bore no ears of grain. The rock is within you, not visible, but deeply felt. It is what you closed off, what you had to protect, what you never dared to face. Maybe there was pain, or shame, or the fear that something inside you might break if you truly opened up. So you became hard, not cruel, just hard, because it was the only way. And so the word falls on you, but it slides off, like rain on stone. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "Some people build walls not to keep others out, but to protect themselves." And maybe you feel it when someone truly means you, when words try to reach you, but you don't let them in, not because you don't want to, but because something inside you simply can't. Hilda Domin, poet of quiet resistance, once captured it in a single image. "I say I am made of stone, and secretly hope someone sees the trembling in it. And as long as that rock lives within you, no seed will take root. It needs earth, not walls. It needs softness, not a shield. It's not always hardness that chokes what's true. Sometimes it's the too much, too many voices, too many distractions, too many expectations. And others fell among the thorns. They choked the seed, and the worm devoured them. The thorns are not cold like stone. They're alive. They grow. They reach for everything that wants to take root in you and strangle it before it can rise. You might know the feeling. You sense a clear impulse, but right after come the thoughts, the duties, the worries, and what wanted to live fades. The thorns of the world grow silently, but they steal your breath. That's how the theologian Romano Guardini put it. And somewhere in between, you live. Or try to, with a calendar full of things that have nothing to do with you, with a mind that never rests, with a heart constantly pulled away from what truly matters. The thorns are the opposite of space. They give you no air, no silence, no open field where something in you could come into its own. The Austrian poet Georg Trakl once wrote, "Cursed is the one who has no silence in his heart when the silence of God begins." And then there's the worm, not loud, not fast, but always there. It feeds from within, not on what you are, but on what you could be. Maybe it's called doubt, maybe fear, maybe an old guilt you never questioned. Whatever it is, it lives in the shadows, and whenever something starts to glow in you, it awakens and devours it. Not out of malice, but because the light wakes it, because something in you has learned not to trust what shines. And so it happens again and again, a glimpse of hope, followed by retreat, a new beginning, and then that paralyzing voice that questions everything. It's not the dark that destroys you. It's the fear of the light. Not everything in you is closed off, overgrown, or lost. There is a place, quiet, unremarkable, hidden like a forgotten garden that can receive the word. The saying goes, and others fell on good soil, and it bore good fruit, 60-fold and 120-fold. The good soil isn't a reward, not the result of effort. It is what remains when everything else falls silent. Maybe it's what's left of the child you once were, or something that was never hurt, something that has always been there, but buried beneath noise, fear, and duty. You don't find it through striving, you find it through becoming empty. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop chasing and start listening, when you no longer try to grip life, but let it take root within you. The German mystic Meister Eckhart once said, "For the word of God to be born in the soul, it must be empty and unoccupied. For if it were full, there would be no room for it." You are the good soil when you no longer need to be anything. When you don't seek to impress, when you simply are, open, receptive, a quiet yes. The German poet Friedrich Rückert captured this mystery in luminous, simple words. I have roots deep in the soil of my longing, and one morning something blooms I never planned. And then it happens, not loudly, perhaps not even visibly, but truly, something begins to grow in you, not of you, and yet from you. When something grows in you, it doesn't just change your inner life, it transforms everything that flows out from you. Not like success, not like a plan fulfilled, but like a quiet radiance, touching others without even trying to. And it bore good fruit, 60-fold and 120-fold. Why these numbers? Why not simply say a lot? In ancient mystical thought, numbers were more than numbers. They were symbols of inner reality, of transformation, of the soul's journey. 60 is the number of maturity. It speaks of a person who has been tested and did not break, not perfect, but open, empty enough to carry something greater than themselves. But 120, that is more, that is overflow, a fullness that no longer comes from you, but through you. In the Torah, 120 was the lifespan of Moses, a symbol of a life lived in fullness, close to God, and yet still human. The French philosopher Simone de Weil once wrote, "A person only bears true fruit when they see themselves as a channel through which light flows." This fruit isn't visible like a trophy. It can't be measured. It reveals itself in your presence, in how you listen, in how you remain silent. And sometimes in a single word spoken at just the right time, a word that unlocks something in another. Not because you tried to give, but because you had become soil. You carry them all within you, the path, the rock, the thorns, and the soil. Sometimes you're open, but so open that everything slips away. Sometimes you're strong, but so hard that nothing can sink in. Sometimes you're full, but so full that there's no space left to breathe. And sometimes you're ready, empty enough, soft enough, quiet enough to receive. It's not about being perfect, it's about becoming fertile, not for yourself, but for what longs to live through you. Become soil, not out of weakness, but out of trust, because maybe from a single word that takes root in you, a tree will grow, and one day many will find shade beneath its branches.